10th caller gets in on Callaway Clubs. We'll give away from Golf Etc. coming up on June 16th. Guns! And the 701, gentlemen, how are you?
Doing great today.
My favorite part of the week, I wish this could be 3 hours.
Me too. 1 hour would be nice.
Well, we'll work on that one.
There we go. Yeah, that sounds great, man. Let's get it done, Todd.
Because I can do just about anything. All right, a caller on your talk claimed that there's a bunch of ARs made by the Chinese. What's the truth in that one?
Take the lead, Jamie.
Yeah. All right, so if anybody was listening, the guy called into the Darryl show and said all these mass shootings are being done by cheap Chinese AR-15s, which I've never even heard of them before. So I called in and said I've never heard of them, and these mass shootings are mostly being done by American-made firearms, almost exclusively. And you know what? The guy was right. There is Chinese-made ARs. Norinco made these things. So after the Vietnam War, China began to make some American-made clones. Actually, I guarantee you, they stole the bolt for bolt, nut for nut. They stole our firearms, M14, M16, and 1911. Obviously, they were turned over by the NVA to the Chinese, their allies, after the Vietnam War was over. And in the 1980s, they started importing these, Todd. And it's called the Norinco CQ. And that is like, it's the ugliest M16 you've ever seen. This thing looks like it's sick. I don't know what's the matter with it. But, and there's not many of these things around, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I've watched some videos of prominent guys in the gun industry, and they're pretty much saying these things are almost like a goonie bird. They're popular in Canada and the Philippines and some other countries, but in America, I believe 1994, Clayton, right, by executive order, they were banned, and that ban has never been lifted on Norinco.
Correct. Yep. 1994 was the last time anything was allowed to be imported, especially from China. And there's a distinct difference between, say, the M16A1 and the CQ. The CQ is using a 6000 series aluminum alloy. It's lightweight, it's a lot weaker, and it's less corrosion resistant than like the Type 7075 aluminum that our M16s are all made. I mean, ours are just way better, and that's probably why the Chinese never, ever deployed them to their own army, the People's Liberation Army of China. They probably never did that because they knew it was an inferior product. And who knows? Maybe that was the idea. Put an inferior product out there, sell it to your enemy, and you're going to have a superior yourself. I don't know.
Yes, and I went
Good.
I went way back looking for mass shootings, Todd, with Norinco firearms or Chinese firearms. And really, I'm not saying it didn't happen in the 80s when these things were legal and you could buy them. And people who do own them, they were grandfathered in after the executive order ban. But like I said, so the one I found actually was in January, there was one of those shootings in California with the older Asian gentleman. And he actually had a Norinco pistol. It's chambered for the Tokarev 7.62x25, so the Chinese probably copied that from the Russians. But yeah, that was the only Norinco firearm I found. Norinco, they still can actually import. There's importers. I can't remember the name of the importer right now. There's just one in the United States. They can import shotguns yet, and that's it, Norinco. The guy was right. I was proven wrong. I love, whether I'll use this information ever again is irrelevant. I like to know stuff about guns. I appreciate the gentleman pointing that out. I got that right, but he is wrong about that being the major firearm in these AR-15s in particular in mass shootings.
But I do have a recording of you saying you're wrong now, and that's all I've needed. So my life is now complete.
Right. I'm more than happy to admit it if I am.
Guns in the 701 here.
You're wrong, but
on K-Fire. What sound spooks deer most? Actually, the true sound that spooks deer most. You're not going to shoot him, are you?
Yeah, the human voice, right? maybe some people's voices more than others. But
well, that's just it. The old stereotypical Jeff Foxworthy's wife, they're hunting, and they're you're not going to shoot him, are you? That probably annoys the deer most. But what sound spooks the deer most, though?
I was actually kind of shocked that they did something like this, but it was put on by the National Deer Association. They did it down in Georgia, it's done in 2018, but there were some interesting stats that come out of that. I mean, they did a 30,000 acre area. And then basically the guy who did this, Dr. Daniel Crawford, he was the lead author of it. When he started getting into this, he found that the probability of a deer fleeing from sounds, they reviewed 823 videos, had 23 separate blinds. They went through 64 different audio clips of humans, coyotes, wolves, and dogs, and even some, 3 threatening bird species, if I remember right, in there, and found that the humans were the most threatening voice or threatening sound to a deer. The interesting thing was there's no wolves supposedly in Georgia, and it came in number 2. So it kind of makes you wonder, does that go back as far as they can remember when wolves probably were all across North America and the United States? I don't know. Dog came in next at 3, coyote at 4, mountain lions at 5, and then birds came in 6. So that was kind of interesting, those results, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, well, humans were twice as likely as the next, like you said, sound to spook them. They're twice as likely as the next closest one to spook them. And for the wolves, when I read that about wolves, it immediately popped into my head that it had to go back centuries that wolves were in the area, and they were the main, because wolves just kill stuff. They don't just go out and eat stuff for the heck of it. Wolves are an apex predator. They'll go out and kill stuff for the heck of it just because they enjoy doing it. And and then farther on in the article, he kind of says that too. It's kind of in white-tailed deer's DNA there from being hunted and killed by wolves, centuries ago. And I to this day at our farm and ranch, when I hunt, I think the deer there are mostly mule deer, but I think it's in their DNA, like the breeding grounds and all that. And it's got to be the same with these deer. To see, to hear the sound of wolves, it's in their DNA that it's time to get the heck out of there when they hear that. So,
did they happen to test a human-driven car at 80 miles an hour and that sound? Because that might also scare them.
Well, it scares them onto the road so you can hit them.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If they heard a car going 80 right next to them, that might scare them even more than all the other sounds.
Yeah, so Dr. Crawford's his advice for your hunting strategy is to shut up, which I agree with. And number 2, my second bit of advice is, and I see this to this day, and it drives me nuts. When you get out of your vehicle, don't slam your door. Close that thing as quiet as you can. And I still have people I hunt with. I look over, it's like somebody breaks a bottle. I just look over, and it just drives me insane.
And then
barely let it click.
Open that can of beer and go, yeah! That always brings the deer closer to you, right?
Deer love the smell of beer.
Or there he is, shoot it. That'll bring the deer right over to you, and kind of like you can go pet those buffalo. It's kind of in that same vein there. Guns in the 701 here at K-Fire. Senator Mark Kelly said there is more Congress can do to address gun violence. We need to get rid of the guns. I'm sick and tired of hearing that crowd, but they're out there. What can we actually do?
And I'm going to jump in here. So Kelly was actually he's married to Kathy, or to Gifford.
Gabby
Giffords. And basically, she got shot in the head, if anybody remembers that, a few years back. And, of course, there was a big stink about it. This is her husband. He was an astronaut. And then, of course, they made a little visit to Mandan, didn't they, Jamie? Mandan, Bismarck.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Todd, if you remember that, Mayor Bakken was on, him and Scott Hennon were doing the morning show together. And got wind that Gabby, this is about a year or two after she was shot, Gabby and her husband, their whole entourage was going over to Kroll's in Mandan. I called over there. They said nothing was happening. Great American Marty Beard drove over there and said, something's definitely going on here. You should come over. We went over there, and sure enough, they were there to push gun control, to push Second Amendment infringement, acting like they're just for common sense. But, Todd, everything that she pushed there in her group would not have stopped Jared Lee Loeffner from shooting her in the head and all the other people there in Arizona.
Oh, man.
And they're still pushing the same failed policies. Mark Kelly, it was funny because he came rolling out of the side door there like he was some big alpha male, and then there was a story in the Washington Post that he came out and chased all these right-wing nuts off, which is Marty and I and his nephew and a couple other guys. That little runt didn't chase anybody off. He went right back in there. He had his big goons with him. They just kind of eyeballed us. Matter of fact, KFYR TV interviewed me after that for it. So when somebody comes up here and tries to guilt people into giving up your civil rights, it's not going to work. I'm sorry she got shot and that had to happen, but what you're pushing, taking away my rights, is not going to work. And Mark Kelly's doing the same thing here, touting the new background check policy. They did the Safer Communities Act, the best thing they've signed in 30 years. Hasn't done a thing. Crime's still going up. Mass shootings are going up. And guess what? Now he says that's just the beginning, right, Clay? And that's a great thing they always say. It's just the beginning.
And that's just what I was going to add. That's always he says that we passed this bipartisan Safer Communities Act. It's a step in the right direction, but it's only one step, and there's more we can do. And that's how it is every single time with these communists. They want to take your rights, and it's just never enough.
How come we don't take away cars when somebody runs down somebody with a car?
Yeah, interesting. We don't hold them liable.
Yeah. You know, I should have shown up at that thing with a bag of rocks and just started throwing rocks and have them go, what are you doing? And I'm like, hey, Cain killed Abel with a rock. Come on.
That's right.
We've always had ways of killing people long before the gun ever came out.
Absolutely. Cross those rocks.
One of her supporters there has been, she's been stalking Marty and I for about 10 years now, posting little cute videos of us and pictures of us on her Facebook page. So she's kind of a psycho. If there's ever a red flag law here, I'm going to report her for that right away. So. And don't forget this, one more thing about this, Todd.
Yes.
Kelly claims he's a supporter of the Second Amendment and owns guns himself. Sir, you are not a supporter of the Second Amendment. You're a gun owner. You're a FUD who would be willing to give them up at the drop of a hat.
Hey.
So he probably owns a few guns that act like he's pro-second.
It's a stapling gun and a glue gun. He owns guns, and he's not giving them up.
Well, the Democrats, those are AR-15s, too.
Yeah, they're probably assault staplers.
Yep, for sure.
Guns in the 701. You got new stuff on Wednesdays, and when do we see on KFYR Plus?
Monday morning or Monday afternoon. Go ahead.
Yep, Monday morning. That's 11:30 Mountain Time, 12:30 p.m. Central Time. KFYR Plus. We're on for about 30 minutes. It's called In the Crosshairs with JD and Clay, and Jay Dillon's the host of that. Jay's a good guy. You can tune in. You get some good information on there. It's kind of like what we do on here, Todd, but it's just on KFYR TV's live stream. Just go to KFYRplus.com and click watch live.
Also, we have a poll going right now on our Facebook page, and we're going to give the results on Monday on that. So go on there and check that out. It's about the legislature and whether you think they're doing the right thing by you on the Second Amendment.
There we go.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed you voted yet, Todd. Get on it, buddy.
I heard you. I'll do it. I'm trying not to stuff the ballot box. You know how I get. I get angry, and then I start voting. Click, 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 click.
Yep. So, hey, if you don't catch anything live, Todd, you can always catch it. Clay posted on our Facebook page, the YouTube channel, and gunsin701.com. You can also catch everything on iHeartRadio on the podcast. We'd like you to do those every Wednesday. Get on Facebook, YouTube, or our website and watch the live stream. That's at 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central. And it goes for about what, Clay? Usually we go about an hour and a half, hour and 15, right? You can get in live chats and say anything you want to us, ask us questions. In fact, we welcome that.
All right. All right, guys, got to run, but always a pleasure. Guns in the 701. And make sure you got them on iHeart there, and you click on, favorite or whatever. And, yeah, the best. I'm supposed to tell everybody what the best podcast is, what I feel the best non-radio station podcast is on iHeart. There it is, Guns in the 701. So there you go. All right.
Yeah, baby.
Guys, have a good weekend. Take care.
You too.
Todd.